What if I told you that house music and the amount of poultry coops you see are both signs of a downturn? We all know that 2 straight quarters of GDP drop indicate a recession. By this time, we've already selected that box. However, how will you know? What about for real? Watch this Sunday uplifting movie all the way through and see how many of these you can check off. Here are 15 street-level signs we're in a recession. Welcome to this channel, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. 1. An uptick in misdemeanor theft charges, usually food and other necessities. If you question your lawyer or law enforcement colleagues about petty crime, they'll all tell you the same thing: the numbers are rising. Recessions skew the risk-reward ratios in the communal psyche, resulting in more crime for less benefit. That is why people steal food and other necessities, and you will see it in large towns as well. Murder has skyrocketed in Manhattan, Los Angeles, London, and France. They'll kidnap you for your timepiece in England. If it's a forgery, they'll give it back in Italy, but you get the point. Another major indicator that we're in a slump is an increase in the number of stolen catalytic converters. It's essentially the same as in 2008. This type of tale is about to become much more common. Maybe you do already. 2. Landlords kicking people out of rentals because they'll sell the property or move in themselves. The wealthy are essentially restructuring their investments in order to accumulate capital. Apartment buildings are being liquidated by their owners. Some residents will remain, while others will be evicted in order to repurpose the property. Middle-class real estate proprietors are downsizing as well. They'd rather use the room for themselves rather than hire it out. This is true for both leases and workplace space. We promise that at least some of your renting acquaintances are now searching for a new home because their landlord wants them out. 3. An increase in people on LinkedIn laid off and looking for work. Facebook is suddenly buzzing with action. Everyone is getting certified and showing off their open-to-work credentials. Your peers or people you know will speak about changing careers, being dissatisfied with their workplace, or that the business for which they work is struggling. When matters become serious, people set their pride aside and attempt to work things out. People who previously avoided you or even disparaged you are now seeking out for employment possibilities. If you grant them a path in, they'll do anything. There will be an increase in the traffic to job posting websites, as well as an increase in the number of applications for fast cash chances and the number of subjects being discussed. 4. Used car sales overtake new car sales. In times of recession, people stop buying new cars. Why have a monthly commitment when you can accept for a little less than the cash price? The pattern since the 2008 financial disaster is depicted on the screen. Another indicator that we're in a recession is a rise in speeding fines. Look. Take a look at this. According to a study performed since 1990, a 1% rise in the local jobless rate results in a 6.4 percentage point increase in the number of traffic citations. Yep. The cops are being urged to stop more vehicles because the government requires quick revenue. If you could get away with it in the past, your odds are growing slimmer now. Some of you may have even lately encountered this. 5. Apartment hotels are at a negative cash flow level. Let us take you on a tour of our universe. Some of you may be aware that certain motels allow you to purchase hotel accommodations. You can reside in them for a certain number of days per year, typically around 120. The hotel leases it out to guests the remainder of the time, creating fresh revenue. This is an excellent purchase for frequent travelers. We were looking for properties in Manhattan a few weeks back when we came across 2 one-bedroom flats for sale in a well-known hotel and tower. With Central Park nearby, the coroner's office was in the ideal position. These types of apartments typically sell for around $1 million, but these 2 were on the market for only $700,000 each. Isn't this a fantastic opportunity? Purchase one, get one gratis type of offer in terms of position. This is an AAA home at an unbelievable price. So we contacted our agent to retrieve the money papers. We expected the financials to be terrible, given that each apartment leases for an average of $700 per night and we've been dealing with a pandemic for 2 years. We'll share the data for educational reasons, so you can see how the numbers stack up on a purchase like this. The apartment is on pace to lose money for the 3rd year in a run due to the expensive energy and maintenance costs. Imagine paying over $1.5 million for a rental property that ends up costing you $84,000 per year and you never get to use it because the proprietor never visited. Even better, we reasoned, this meant we could make a very bold lowball offer if the arithmetic worked out in the long run. So we requested our agent to retrieve the data previous to the pandemic, and this is what we found. This does not take into consideration the fact that you will still have to pay income tax on the income you produce. If not, you can still subtract the cost. When hotel flats have negative figures, it indicates that we are on the verge of a decline. The cost of doing business rises. And as you raise your rates, you become less competitive. When it comes to updating, real estate is a cash-intensive industry, and hotels are the most costly. As a result, individuals are ready to sell their liabilities at a loss. During a crisis, homes tend to stay on the market for much longer. You will notice for sale signs that stay there a lot longer than they used to. 6. The numbers of people experiencing homelessness is on the rise. Have you observed a rise in the number of homeless individuals in areas where property values have increased in the last 3 years? Earnings have only risen by about 10%. During the same time period, people are unable to purchase housing, so the number of persons on the street is increasing. Here's an intriguing observation: the actuality of a large city is about 30 years ahead of its notoriety, which means that when people from Europe think of Los Angeles, they think of Hollywood. That was created in today's Los Angeles, however, is very different from what you would anticipate. This is what Los Angeles is today, as is Boston or New York. But, for some reason, Miami appears to be flourishing. On the other hand, Central and Eastern Europe has been thriving, despite its bad image. It will take 20 to 30 years for the West to realize how well developing nations have performed. 7. Employers are on a hiring freeze company-wide. You've probably heard of individuals who were interviewed, accepted for particular jobs, and then when they were due to report for work, the entire business downsized or went on a hiring freeze. So, here's how you can predict it. If your supervisor or manager begins using expressions like "for the sake of openness in meetings," you know things aren't going well. All of a sudden, the color red appears more frequently on your charts than before, and your nervousness about coming to work increases. Everyone is a little more stressed out than normal, placing additional pressure on everyone else to succeed. 8. An uptick in used and vintage product sales. The secondary market is flourishing, which is an obvious direct indication that we are in a recession. But we don't mean swapping shoes for 3x, the drop price, when we say secondary. You are purchasing it rather than purchasing new furnishings. Secondhand, the market for vintage or secondhand goods is increasing, and thrift shops are becoming more costly than expected. There is an excellent database for it. Because they are more of a novelty purchase, musical instruments are typically one of the greatest predictors of recessions. The selling of acoustic instruments on the secondary market can be used to gauge how things are progressing. Another strong predictor of impending hardship is an increase in the number of listings for yachts or motorbikes for sale. When things get poor, conditions simply force you to get rid of what you don't need as much. 9. Delivery companies as a litmus test for the economy. Another intriguing metric to consider is the number of deliveries made per mile traveled by delivery firms. If you work for UPS, FedEx, or another courier service, you're used to completing a certain number of dispatches per mile traveled. We recently spoke with a delivery driver who said that last year he averaged 35 miles for 150 visits, but this year he had to travel 50 miles for the same number of stops. Many of them say it's worse than it was from 2008 to 2009, owing to the fact that gas costs have more than quadrupled since then and many stores have been devastated by the pandemic or supply chain disruptions. In fact, the quantity of goods and raw materials entering the nation has decreased by more than 20% in most industries compared to the same time last year, showing that things are indeed settling down. Money's economy is founded on velocity, or the rate at which money exchanges hands. We intend to make a film about this shortly that will explain why it is important in the context of a crisis. 10. More people are starting side hustles for additional income. People are out there hustling all the time. Everyone is trying to sell something or make something else happen. When people sell homemade food on Facebook to supplement their income, you know you're in a recession. During a recession, the entrepreneurial spirit thrives because people have nothing to lose, so they learn how to get things done. People are reorienting themselves to freelancing gigs where they can control how much they work and generate additional income without having to drive for Uber or deliver food during recessions. And we'd like to come in and help our community. With the increase of work-from-home opportunities, more and more businesses will move from employing employees to engaging freelancers from anywhere in the world. 11. Gas prices and grocery baskets make you consider meal prepping for the week. Remember when your folks cooked for you and you ate the same dish for 2 or 3 days? Doesn't that no longer happen? People are becoming more price-aware as the cost of living rises. The complete purchasing cart is no longer available for $100. It scarcely covers the grocery basket, but as time goes on, more and more people around you will begin to food prep. The prevalence of YouTube movies on this subject attests to this. Also, it's around this time that you discover how much more food you can afford if you shop at lower-cost stores. 12. People looking to rehome their pets. However, facilities are at capacity. You're probably only 1 degree of separation removed from someone who attempted to locate refuge for their pet. Okay, we're talking about dogs here, not other kinds of hairy. Many people are unable to finance their homes and have nowhere to transport their pets as a result of the homelessness pandemic. The compassionate thing to do is to find them a new home. At this time, you'll start hearing about pet sanctuaries being overcrowded and unable to accept any more animals. The issue isn't money, though it certainly helps. The issue is a lack of room and the capacity to house all of these pets. Adoption is available. 13. A rise in smoking and house music. An rise in the number of individuals smoking on a daily basis is a telltale indication that we're in a recession. People tend to take more smoke breaks during periods of financial difficulty because they are more nervous. You most likely know someone who has increased the frequency with which they smoke. But that's not what drew your focus to this topic, is it? So, why is dance music associated with a financial crisis? It's related to the smoking portion, and it monitors over time. Recall Skrillex and dubstep? Guess when they became popular and when the whole home phenomenon began. You can actually see dance music peak right after the crisis. Here's dubstep compared to mainstream music, which is a continuous staple, and this is also occurring right now. Retro house is on the increase, and Beyoncé and Drake's new records are both house and techno. The increased BPM or tempo of the music is why people incline towards it during economic downturns. Essentially, we just want the music to reflect how we're feeling inside right now. 14. People are selling instead of donating things. If you look on Craigslist, you'll notice that no one is giving anything of true worth these days. And it wasn't always like this. People are marketing all sorts of strange items, and some are simply being inventive with their extra components. Individuals are either selling items or gifting them to family members to use. Repurposing is also on the rise. Traditional contributions have decreased, while yard and storage markets have increased. And it's easy to see why in a time when every cent matters. 15. More people in McDonald's and fewer people in fancy restaurants. You'll start having to wait longer for your quick cuisine. Because there is a greater desire for it. People will dine out less frequently, and when they do, they will concentrate on the price. As humans, we want the most value for our money, and this mindset will pervade all aspects of life. You'll suddenly feel like there's nothing worthwhile on Netflix, Amazon, HBO, Max, or Disney+. So you've either stopped or are thinking about canceling your memberships. From the ground level, your friends will approach you for money more frequently than they have in the past, or will be more hesitant to say yes to money-spending ventures. You will feel the effects of the recession differently depending on your degree of income. Remember to be considerate of others. We have a big international group, so it's time for you to contribute to this discussion. In your line of business, what indications have you seen that we are in a recession? We'd love to hear how you're dealing with the economic downturn, so please leave your response in the comments section. And we've arrived at the conclusion of the movie, haven't we? This is not the conclusion for those who have made it this far, because you are amazing and earn a bonus. So there you have it. The more states battle inflation, the more likely it is that a recession will occur. In essence, global nations have placed themselves between a rock and a hard place. They continue to create more money in order to prevent a recession, which leads to inflation, which, if unchecked, has the potential to destroy the economy. So, in order to avoid this, they attempt to slow it down slightly, which slows the economy and places us in a recession. To put things in context, according to a new Goldman report that we reviewed this week, the UK is expected to exceed 20% inflation as official figures. This will have a significant impact on the populace. The only way to avoid being ruined by what is about to happen is to prepare and engage in the few remaining choices that are hedges against the unavoidable decline. We made a film on recession-proof investments last Sunday, which you guys enjoyed before we were totally overrun by scam-promoting bots. But you're wise enough to know the difference. Fortunately, we recommend a little more budgetary discipline in the coming months. You won't notice it as much this year, but this footage will be verified in January and February 2023. Hopefully, you will not only endure, but flourish in this recession, as recessions are one of the greatest chances to create wealth that mankind has ever seen. We see chance where others see fear. If you agree, please leave a remark with the word chance. Let's see who among you is willing to make the crisis your sandbox. Thank you for devoting some of your precious time to us today. We're thrilled you did. If you liked it, please leave us a like and click the bell symbol to never miss an upload again. And hey, don't forget to subscribe.